Hey, welcome to Chapter 9, Lesson 10, where we're going to be going over quarters and fourths. So just like saying two equal parts of a whole is a half, we can also change out quarters and fourths. They both mean the same thing. So we are on page 693. You're looking at the Math in My World page, and you're going to see a big old rectangle and a big old circle. What we are going to do here is we're going to divide it into fourths. So when we divide something into fourths, it's like dividing it into halves 2 times. So I'll show you what I mean there. So I'm going to take my rectangle first, and I'm going to draw a line to separate it into 2 halves. So I'm going to start at my very top, and I'm going to bring a straight line down, and I'm doing it right in the middle so that it's 2 equal parts over here. So right now I have 2 halves, and that's going to make 1 whole. Well, now I need to make it into fourths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to this long end, and I'm going to go in the middle, and I'm going to draw a line right across this way. Now when I draw those 2 lines, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts now. So I was able to draw 2 lines and separate my rectangle into 4 equal. Alright, next we are going to do the same thing but with our circle, and we're going to follow the same exact steps that I took with my rectangle. I'm going to start at the very top in the middle, and I'm going to draw a straight line down. That way I separated my circle into 2 equal parts, or 2 halves. And then I'm going to come over onto the side, and I'm going to draw a straight line across. And then I'm able to have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts there. Alright, now what you are going to do is you're going to grab 4 colors, and you're going to color in each fourth a different color. So I'm going to start over here. I'm going to start with my red. I'll color this fourth in red. I'll color my second fourth in black. My third fourth in blue. So if we look at this right now, so far I have 1, 2, 3 parts out of 4 colored. Alright, now I'm going to color in my last part. When I color in all 4, then I have colored in the whole thing. Alright, so now I'm going to do the same with my circle. So I'm going to color my first part red. So right now I have 1 of 1, 2, 3, 4 parts colored. Then I'm going to color in my next part. Now I have 1, 2 of 4 parts colored. Now I'm going to color in my third part. And now I have 1, 2, 3 of 4 parts colored. And now I'm going to color in my last part. Make the whole thing, all 4 of them, excuse me, Matt, all 4 of them colored in for us. So you are going to do the same thing. Go ahead and finish up coloring in your rectangle and your circle after you've divided it into fourths, and I will meet you on the next page. So go ahead and pause so you can finish. Welcome back. We are on page 694, and we're going to work through this part together, and then I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing on the next page so that you can finish that up, and then we'll review it again together. So at the very top of the page, we are going to see our circle and our square, and we have a highlighted, bolded word up there. That's going to be fourths. That's one of our very important math vocabulary words. So let's talk about what fourths means. So a whole that is separated into 4 equal parts is separated into fourths. So if I have a circle and then I separate it into 4 equal parts, these parts are going to be called fourths. So this one is a fourth, here is a fourth, a fourth, and a fourth. When I put all 4 fourths together, that'll make one whole circle. So we're looking at our circle here, and each part is a fourth of a quart or a quarter, and that makes our whole. So we're gonna count out how many we have, and we'll write it down as we count it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. So we're gonna write 4 on that first line, and then we're gonna look at our square to fill out the next one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 fourths. So on those first lines, we're gonna have 4 equal parts and 4 fourths. So now we're looking at number 1, and they wanna know how many equal parts are going to make that whole. So they have a square for our first one, and you can see that it has 2 lines in there, and it's separated into some equal parts. We need to count how many equal parts there are so that we can fill in our blank. So let's go ahead and write and count as we do this. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts, and that's what I'm going to write on my line. Make sure when you write it that your 4 is in the right direction, and double check your work as you're writing your numbers to make sure that we're writing our numbers in the right direction. Number 2, we're gonna do the same thing. We wanna know how many equal parts are in this circle. So let's go ahead and write and count along. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 equal parts again. So I'm going to write that on my line. Number 3 and 4 is a little bit more challenging. They want us to draw our lines to show the equal parts. So we want to have fourths, and that means I'm going to have to draw a few lines so that I end up with 4 equal parts again, right? So my rectangle here, I am going to change it up a little bit. I am going to draw a straight line right down the middle. That'll separate it into 2 equal parts. Then I'm going to come over to this side, and I'm going to separate that into the middle. So I'm going to draw a straight line down over here. And so far I have 1, 2 shapes that are equal over here, but this one's a little bit bigger. It's not fully equal. So to fix that and to make my fourths, I'm going to separate this square into halves. So I'm going to draw my line right down here. And by doing this, I was able to make fourths. See, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 fourths. So I'm going to write that on my line. And this is just to show you that there are so many different ways that you can separate your shapes into fourths, or like we did last chapter, or I'm sorry, last lesson, into our halves. And as you continue on and making larger and larger equal parts, or more and more equal parts, there are going to be so many different ways that you can separate it. So our rectangle here, I just drew all my lines going in the same direction. I made 1, 2, 3, 4 fourths. Now I'm going to have my square again, and just to show you how I did that again, I'm going to find the middle part of my square, and I'm going to draw a straight line down. And then I'm going to take 1/2 of it, and I'm going to find that middle again, and I'm going to draw my straight line down. Then I'm going to go to the other side, find my middle, draw a straight line down, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 fourths there. I'm going to write that on my line. Alright, go ahead and finish up this. When you go to the next page, you are going to be working on filling in that 4th part. So it'll have some part of your whole there, and you just need to fill in that last part. Just like last lesson when we were drawing in the second half of our shape, we are going to be drawing in the missing quarter of the next shape. So that's what you're going to do for number 5 and 6. Draw in that missing quarter. You should have 3 pieces or 3 equal parts of your shape. You're going to draw in the 4th equal part. Numbers 7 and 8, I want you to color in 1/4 of your shape. And then you're going to fill in those blanks. So blank of blank parts are filled in. How many did you color in? How many are there all together? And then those are your parts. And then for numbers 9 and 10, you are going to color in 1 of the equal parts, and you're going to do the same thing. Now remember, when we're working and separating it into 4 equal parts, those are also called fourths. So if you have 4 fourths, you have 4 equal parts. So for number 7 and 8, you're going to color in 1 of the 4, and you're going to write that in. And number 9 and 10, you are going to color in 1 of the equal parts. When you're all finished with that, we will come and review this here. So go ahead and pause. Alright, now we are on page 695, and we are working through some of those problems that you just did. So we're looking at number 5, and I have 1, 2, 3 parts drawn up there, but I need to draw on the 4th part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little extra space I have right here, and I'm going to draw a shape the same size as this, because they need to be equal parts. So I'm going to continue on a little bit out. That looks about equal, and then I'm going to connect it. So now I have 1 whole rectangle split into 4 equal parts. Then I have a almost circle here. I need to draw in the 4th part of my circle. So I'm going to pick up where it left off, and I'm going to do a little curved line to the other side, and that will fill in my 4th part. So go ahead and make sure those are correct. And then we are going to look at number 7. So what we wanted to do is color in 1 of those fourths, and then we're going to fill out those lines. So I'm looking at my circle here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 fourths there, and I want to color in only 1 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and color this one up in the corner. So I colored in 1 of 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So there were 4 parts total. I colored 1 of them. So we're going to look at this rectangle. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to color in 1 of my fourths. So I colored in 1 piece, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So I colored 1 of my 4 parts. Number 9 and 10, we're going to color in 1 of our equal parts. So I'm going to go ahead and color in 1 of these right here. And I colored in 1 part, so I'm going to color that right here. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 parts total, so that's going to go on my second line. So I colored 1 of 4 parts. Then I'm looking at my long rectangle over here. Same thing, I'm coloring in 1 of my equal parts. So I'm going to come over, I'm going to color in this guy over here. It doesn't matter which one that you color in, as long as you only color in 1 of them. So I colored in 1, and I'm going to write 1 right here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts total. So I colored in 1 of 4 parts. So look over your sheet, make sure that yours looks similar to mine. If you colored in this part of your circle instead of this one, you don't need to erase it, that is fine. It was just, as long as you only colored in 1 of those parts, you are set and good. When you are all finished with this, you are going to move on to the next page, page 696. You are going to work through some of those word problems. So I'm going to go ahead and read those for you. Then you're going to pause this, work through it, and then come back to see how we did that. So number 11 says, Heidi has a cookie. She and 3 friends want to share the cookie. How many equal parts does Heidi need? So once again, it says Heidi has a cookie. She had 3 friends want to share the cookie. How many equal parts does she need? So go ahead, they already have a cookie on that page for you, and separate it so that 4 people can have a piece of that cookie equally. So go ahead and use that cookie, do what you need to do to find out how many parts that she needs so that everybody can have an equal piece of that cookie. Number 12 says, Adrian draws a line on a rectangle to show equal parts. She then draws another line to show more equal parts. Describe what happens to the sizes of the parts. So once again, it says Adrian draws a line on a rectangle to show equal parts. Then she draws another line to show more equal parts. Describe what happens to the sizes of the parts. So look at that rectangle. What is happening to each part when she draws more lines in it? And write that down on those lines that you have there. So you're going to work through that now. And I'm going to have this paused, and we will meet back up when you're all finished to review those pages. So ready? Pause. Alright, now we are on page 696. We're going to work through problems 11 and 12 together. So Heidi has a cookie. She had 3 friends who want to share that cookie. How many equal parts does she need? So I drew my little example of a cookie up here, and we need to separate it so that they can all have a piece of the cookie. So there is Heidi, and there are 3 more friends. So how many people is that all together? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need 4 equal parts. So we're gonna separate this cookie so that it shows 4 equal parts. So I'm going to divide it in half, and then in half this way, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts, and that's what we're going to write on our line. So we have 1 for Heidi, 1 for another friend, and another friend. So that'll give us our 3 friends and Heidi. Number 12, it says that Adrian draws a line on a rectangle to show equal parts. Then she draws another line to show more equal parts. Then we're going to describe what happens to those parts as she draws more lines. So first we're going to draw our first line. So I have my hole, and I draw a line to make equal parts. See how it got a little bit smaller? Alright, so we're going to draw another line to make more equal parts. So we're going to divide it in half again. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have fourths. And then what happened to my equal parts? Yeah, they got a little smaller, didn't they? So each time she draws a line, the parts get smaller, don't they? So that's what we're going to go ahead and write on those lines there. If you wrote something along those same lines, that's okay. Go ahead and keep that there. If you need to review it, then go ahead and follow along with me. So each time, E-A-C-H, time, she draws a line. Let me fix my A over there. Each time she draws a line, the parts get smaller. The parts get smaller. Period. Alright, so go ahead, finish up that sentence if you have it. Make sure that everything is correct. And then you are going to go to the My Homework page. You're going to work through those pages. When you're all finished, go ahead and take a picture and post that onto the assignment so I can take a look at it and give you feedback. Alright, I will see you later for the next lesson. Bye, guys.